That exciting world of content creation and the GoPro seems so exciting. But moving over to the world of gaming now, from the acclaimed video game developer Hideo Kojima, the mind behind the award-winning game Metal Gear 5, which everybody loves, comes his latest offering, Death Stranding. It's been teased for a couple of years now. It's finally here. It's out. It's been released. But does it live up to the hype? Will it meet your expectations? Tulu had a chat with Gareth Woods out in Joburg to find out. Let's check this out.
One thing for sure is that nothing tugs at your heartstrings more than a survival game. Add to that a post-apocalyptic setting and you sure have a winner. But does the highly anticipated game Death Stranding live up to its expectations? Well, we've got our resident gaming expert Gareth Woods here to find out. Gareth, let's jump straight into it. What is this game all about?
It's been one of those games where, as information has come out about it, we've almost known less the more we saw. So all the videos that came out, all the hype trailers, people were dissecting and going, what is it all about? The more they show us, the less we know. So the game really, what's happened is it's this post-apocalyptic, you're set in America, some sort of event has happened, but part of the struggle is trying to find out what exactly has happened. Your job as, Sam Porter Bridges, it's your name, and you are basically tasked with trying to reconnect America. So all the cities and towns have kind of been disrupted by this event, and you're a delivery boy, for lack of a better word, but you're connecting these kind of cities to what's called the chiral network to kind of reconnect them. While you do that, there are obviously people who stand in your way, other scavengers looking for resources, other factions who are trying to stop you and don't want America reconnected. Part of this, there's also some weird stuff happening. So the thing that caused the apocalyptic kind of event, it's also linked to death in some way. I'm trying to give as much information without spoiling it. But like, for example, there are these Death Stranding, these BTs they call them, and they're like these ghosts that hang around whenever kind of death happens. And your character has the ability to detect them. You can't really see them, but when you're near them, you kind of like can sense that they're around. So it makes for some really, really tense gameplay as you're moving around trying to avoid these ghosts. So let me just explain where we are at the moment. My character there, Sam, I'm trying to deliver some goods all the way over here to Port Knot City, but I've stopped in a rather precarious area here where there's some of these Death Stranding that you hear so much about. So those are the bad dudes. You see my little like umbrella thing, it's scanning them. As I get closer, it's gonna go like, hey, listen, you don't wanna be here. It's going faster and faster and faster. So I can kind of avoid that area. So I can do the scan every so often, and that spots them for me. The problem with the scanning is any of the other bad guys, like the other humans, if I use the scan, they detect that on their radar. So I've had a situation where, for example, I'm trying to run away from these BTs and using the scan, but it's attracting other bad guys to me. So you've got to kind of balance all that. Okay, it looks like I'm in the clear if I head this way.
So what's your verdict out of 10? How much would you give it?
It's really hard to tell because it's one of those games that's probably closer to art than it is to an actual game. So for some context, Hideo Kojima, the guy who essentially has headed up the studio making this game, he used to work at Konami, who made some massive games, most famously the Metal Gear Solid franchise. And I'd always felt like they kind of kept his genius in check. So they kind of like took his mad rantings and they turned it into a game. Or you feel that now he's been unleashed from the studio and he's doing his own thing, that perhaps, for some people are going, finally, the genius unleashed, he can do what he wants. Other people are going, wow, Konami actually kept and packaged his madness and turned it into a product. And so a lot of people will go, it's art, it's beautiful, it's amazing, thank goodness he's been allowed to do what he wants to do in his vision. A lot of people are going, oh, it's a bit of a mess, it's all over the place, it's closer to art than it is to a game, so it's not actually fun. And so it's weird to give a verdict on it. If you're looking for something completely different, you're looking for something that's a little bit closer to art than a game, a real experience, I really give it a high score, something like an 8.5 and 9. If I were looking for a fun game, something to just like spend some time, have a bit of fun, it's probably not the game you're going to enjoy. Rather stick something a little bit more casual. And so almost give it 2 scores, a 6 for casual gamers and like an 8.5, 9 for serious kind of connoisseurs of games.
And there you have it, guys. As we heard from Gareth himself, if you're looking for something simple and not too complicated like myself, then this game is definitely not for you. But if you're a connoisseur of games and looking for something challenging and more on the survival side of things, then Death Stranding will most definitely appeal to you.